All right, chapter 27, all week long. All right, chapter 27 is servicing the wheels. The wheel and tire assembly is the only point of contact between the vehicle and the road surface. The entire vehicle literally rests on the wheel and tire assembly. The contact between the tire and the road surface plays a large role in determining how a vehicle handles and rides. Today's newer lightweight vehicles are more sensitive than ever to minor tire or wheel issues. Poorly maintained wheels and tires will decrease effective handling, fuel economy, and ride quality, and increase the potential for accidents and breakdowns. Paying attention to the wheels and tires can also assist in identifying problems with other vehicle systems, particularly in steering and suspension systems. The wear patterns in the tire correlate with damage to particular vehicle components. Overlooking the wheel and tire assembly may result in missed faults, leading to larger issues and associated costs. Tires and wheels work together to allow the vehicle to roll smoothly down the road. Tires by themselves have very little rigidity. They flex and deform whenever a force is put against them. Wheels are very rigid and have no way of absorbing the unevenness of the road surface also, since wheels have a low coefficient of friction. Traction would be almost non-existent. But when you pair a tire with a wheel, you get the rigidity needed to provide directional control from the wheel. And you get flexibility and traction to grip the road surface while smoothing out the bumps into the surface of the road, that is from the tire. Tires on most passenger vehicles are called pneumatic tires because they are filled with pressurized air, which gives them support. Forklifts may use solid rubber tires. These tires are not susceptible to punctures, so they are used where tire hazards are present, such as garbage dumps or construction sites. Early pneumatic tires were called tube-type tires because they use an inner tube inside the tire to seal the air in the tire wheel assembly. Recent vehicles use tubeless tires. These tires are designed to seal tightly so they are pressurized and air does not leak out. The air pressure gives the tire its shape. When the weight of the vehicle is sitting on it, air pushes on the entire inside surface of the tire, pushing it outward. Tires on many vehicles are inflated to about 32 pounds per square inch. This means that the air pressure is pushing against every square inch of the inside of the tire. It does not expand like a balloon because it has lots of strong reinforcing strands bolted into it, which gives it strength while still allowing it to be flexible. What's up, man?
How you doing, son?
Good.
Yeah, okay, with HVAC.
Okay.
Genesis master. I'm trying to see if y'all can put a boot on for me. Rack boot.
A rack boot?
Yeah.
On the steering rack?
Yeah.
Do you need it done today?
No.
Okay.
I ain't driving it today.
Oh, you didn't drive it today?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we can definitely put that on. We're talking about tires today, this whole week, but just drive it in and we'll see what we can do to get it in here. Okay.
All right, thanks, son.
All right, you're welcome.
A tire provides a cushion between the vehicle and the road to reduce the transmission of road shocks. The air in the tire supports the vehicle's mass, and the tread provides frictional contact with the road surface, so the vehicle can maneuver for normal use. Radial ply tires are usually manufactured in stages. The casing is initially formed by laying the rubber inner liner and the first layer of textile ply cords around a flat drum mold. The rubber-covered bead wire and sidewalls are then locked into position. The rubber sidewalls protect a finished tire from curb damage and weathering. At the second stage building machine, the tire is shaped. Belts of steel wire are guided into place. The tread is then positioned and the uncured tire is consolidated by rollers before it is placed in the mold. During the molding and curing stage, the tire is subjected to high temperature and pressure, and it takes on its final fixed identity, with its own distinctive tread pattern. It is then trimmed and checked for balance and quality before it is inflated and run under load against a rotating drum. This is a final check for ride uniformity.
Tire distortion is a centrifugal force produces side force during cornering. A side force is pressure pushes the wheel towards the outside inside of the rim during turns. Friction prevents the force from pushing the vehicle sideways. Tires provide opposing forces by distorting while gripping the road. Tire exerts cornering force due to tire's elasticity, pulls the distorted rubber back to its normal position. The cornering force, which is the wheels, the force between the tread and the road surface as the vehicle turns. The tire sideways distortion makes the vehicle follow the path at the angle to the road. It's called a slip angle, and slip angle increases as cornering force increases. A slip angle and cornering force increase as the vehicle is driven into turn with decreasing radius until the tire slides. Only resistance from sliding kinetic friction across the road surface. It only grips again when the vehicle slows or stops turning sharply. When the side force is reduced to a level the tire can withstand without skidding. A vehicle's path is determined by the steering of the front tires, the slip angles of both front and rear tires. It depends on the vehicle's weight distribution, the wheelbase, tire rack, and vehicle length. The weight distribution is affected by whether the engine is front, mid, or rear mounted. During cornering, centrifugal force puts more weight on the outside wheels. Acceleration puts more weight on the rear wheels, and deceleration or braking puts more weight on the front wheels. Centrifugal force pushes the vehicle away from the corner, and it's resisted by cornering force of the tires. Slip angles are unequal due to acceleration, deceleration, and cornering. An understeer is the front slip angles are larger than the rear slip angles. When the vehicle pushes in its corners, front of the vehicle is pushed to the outside of the corner. An oversteer rear slip angles are larger than the front slip angles, where this is called the vehicle is loose in corners and the rear slides towards the outward corner. A neutral steer is both front and rear tires have equal amounts of slip angle, and the vehicle goes in the direction of the front tires are pointing.
During cornering, centrifugal force acts on a vehicle to produce a side force. This side force must be resisted by the interaction of the tire on the road surface. The greater the side force, the greater the opposing force must be. Without this resistance, the vehicle will continue in a straight line. The pneumatic tire provides this opposing force by being able to distort while still gripping the road. Then, since the tire's construction makes it elastic, it exerts a force called cornering force, which acts between the tread and the road surface. It pulls the distorted rubber back to its normal position. The tire's sideways distortion makes the vehicle follow a path at an angle to the direction the road wheel is pointing. This is called the slip angle. As cornering force increases, so does slip angle. When a vehicle is being driven into a turn with decreasing radius, both slip angle and cornering force increase, until a point is reached when the tire slides, and the only resistance comes from sliding friction across the road surface. The tire grips again only when the vehicle has slowed or is making a turn with a larger radius, that is, when the side force is reduced to a level the tire can withstand without skidding. Since both front and rear tires develop a slip angle in a turn, the vehicle's path is determined by the steering of the front tires and the slip angles of both the front and rear tires. These slip angles depend on the location of the major components.
Center of gravity is the balance point of the entire vehicle. Its actual position depends on the location of the engine and transmission. It is always located above the road surface and between the tires. When a vehicle is cornering, this is the point through which all centrifugal force is assumed to act. Its position is determined by the load carried by the front and rear wheel. In a typical rear-wheel drive vehicle, the weight distribution is about 60% fore and 40% aft, and 60% of the weight is carried on the front of the wheels and 40% on the rear, and the center of gravity is closer to the rear than the front. On a typical front-wheel drive vehicle, the weight distribution is about approximately 75% forward and 25% rear. Every vehicle has a static weight distribution, whether it is at rest or traveling in a straight line at a steady speed. This distribution is changed laterally by centrifugal force when the vehicle is turning and in fore and aft direction during acceleration or braking.
The center of gravity is the balance point of the entire vehicle. Its actual position depends on location of the major components. It is always located above the road surface and between the tires. When a vehicle is cornering, this is the point through which all centrifugal force is assumed to act. Its position is determined by